All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Right about now, we're moving on to the next segment, and we have our guest in the studio already. His name is Obinna Iwuno, and he is a certified cryptocurrency compliance specialist, a blockchain educator, a community builder, and an investor. He is dedicated to leading a new dispensation in Africa's blockchain sector while facilitating technological advancement. Now, right now we have him in the studio. Good morning and thank you for joining us, Mr. Obinna.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
All right, so first of all, a lot of people have actually heard the name blockchain. Blockchain. Can you, for the sake of those who have no idea what blockchain is all about, can you give us, background on what blockchain is?
Okay, so blockchain is a digital ledger, right? So what you have in a ledger is a record of transactions, but this time around it is digitalized, right? But what makes the blockchain unique is not just because of the fact that it's digital, it's also that it is very secured and transparent. Okay, so that is like bridging the trust gap because if you look at what we have in our financial institutions, one of the reasons why people do not really trust the financial institutions is because they don't think that they are safe, right? And there are several restrictions that you get in a centralized system, but on the blockchain it is decentralized. We often say this: you are your own bank when you are with the blockchain, right? So we have the the internet, right? And the internet has gone through several phases. So, but we are more conversant with the Web 2, right? There was the Web 1, which was like a rights-only internet where only the creators can put up stuff on the internet. In the early days of the internet, that's what we had, the Web 1. So you just a read-only page. You cannot do anything. And then we metamorphosed into the Web 2, where there are now contributors. Okay, so now for Web 2, you can create content also and put on the internet. That is what you do with platforms like Facebook, like Instagram, like your Google and the rest of them. Those are Web 2 platforms because you also can put up content, but you do not own those contents. The content belongs to the platform. They can decide to shut you out anytime. But Web3, which the blockchain is a part of, means you own everything you put there. And for anybody to access what you have put out there, they need permission from you to access it. So what happens on the Web3 is it is a shared economy, right? So you as the owner and the platforms are sharing whatever value it is that you are generating. Okay, so that is the beautiful thing about the Web3. Okay, that is why we trust the blockchain because, if you have your money in a bank has a centralized data center. So if anybody wants to attack the bank, they can just go to the centralized data center and hack it, and everybody is affected. Now, on the blockchain, there is no centralized data. This data is distributed amongst participators on the network. That means we can be 10,000 of us around the world who are custodians of this network. What it means is this: you, I, him, right? We are participators in, say, the Bitcoin network, right? Mm-hmm. It means that you have 100% of the data on that network. I have 100% of the data on that network. He has 100% of the data on that network. How does it happen? When a transaction is carried out on that network, before it can be recorded, there has to be a verification. And that verification has to pass through all of the nodes. So the participators in this network who verifies transactions are called nodes. Now, every single one of the nodes has to agree that this transaction is correct before it can be entered on the blockchain. And once it is entered on the blockchain, it cannot be changed. It cannot be deleted. It cannot be removed. If there was a mistake, what you need is to create a new block that will cite the mistake in the previous block for it to be amended. But for you to delete this particular block that has the mistake, you can't. So anybody who comes on the blockchain can see that at so point, there was a mistake. But this block is connected to the previous block and is also connected to the next block where the correction happened. All right. So because of this fact that we do not have a centralized data center where anybody can attack, I have trust on the blockchain to store my digital assets on it. Because I do not want to store my digital assets on a network that somebody can make a decision and say, if they don't like my face, they will just shut me down. And then I lost everything that I have in there. All right. That is why you see, like in some countries, you know, they are proposing to put their voting systems on the blockchain, you know, because when you have the voting system on the blockchain, it cannot be manipulated. Now, blockchain is not only limited to finance. That's the beautiful part of it, right? Blockchain is an infrastructure that cuts across all sectors. So you in the media can use blockchain infrastructure. You know, those in agriculture can use blockchain infrastructure, those in medicine, even lawyers, you know.
All right, before we get into the different ways we can actually use blockchain, I still want to come back to that issue of security.
Yeah.
When we have a centralized database or a centralized entry point, it's just one.
Yeah.
A person just goes in there and he attacks everything, and that's that. If you're able to secure that place, you're able to secure it because it's just one place.
Yeah.
But in the situation, the one that you described right now, you have different people along that actually have access and have ownership, just like you said, 100% ownership. That means you, me, her, we all have 100% ownership of this, which means we have this instead of the one central database, we have like 3 now. Let's talk about that. So doesn't that make it 3 more entry points apart from just the one entry point that you need to secure? All right. Can't I come through you and then attack everybody else?
No.
Okay. So how do you prevent that?
Okay, so it is one entry point.
Okay.
It is distributed. Now the beautiful thing is this. There are some blockchains that can perform 400,000 transactions in a second.
Okay.
Right? So you could see processing speed. Now, why it is called distributed ledger is that there's one entry point, but it touches everybody. Everybody is like an entry point. But not one particular person is the entry point. So we are all recognized as nodes. So whatever is sent on the network, right, is sent to everybody at the same time. Now, for you to hack a blockchain, there is what we call the 51% attack. What it means is this. You have to be able to take control of 51% of the network at the same time, which is very impossible. Because how are you going to do that? We are not in a central location, right? Everybody is around the world running this system. So who are you going to attack first? If you attack her, the network is not yet attacked because you have 100% of it. I have 100% of it. The other man in the US, the one in the UK, the one in Cameroon, the one in Ghana, everybody still has 100% of it. So for you to be able to take over the network, you have to be able to attack 51. So that is why there is, even for any change to be made on the network, there has to be a 51% consensus. All right. So if 51% of the consensus of the validators on the network does not agree, a change can be made. I'll give you an example. We all know Bitcoin, right? Now, Bitcoin was the implementation of the blockchain, not the invention of the blockchain. The idea of the blockchain has existed since the 1980s.
Okay.
But Bitcoin was the first technology to use the blockchain. Now, along the line, there was a guy called Vitalik Buterin. He was part of the Bitcoin community. And he said, we can actually make this technology, more than just being a transaction. Because people do not understand that Bitcoin is more than a currency. It's a technology. I said, instead of just sending and receiving, we can make this technology an infrastructure that other people can come and build on. We can have smart contracts, people can build their apps on it, right? Instead of building a blockchain infrastructure from scratch, which is a very tedious work. And then they have to put that to voting. And at the end of the day, he lost. Why? Because there was no 51% consensus. So the others said, no, we do not want to touch the Bitcoin network, because one of the things he said is that it's going to make it faster and make it scalable and all that. And they said no. So he went ahead to start the Ethereum project. And so Ethereum became the first blockchain to innovate beyond just transaction sending and receiving. So on Ethereum, you can build other apps, you can launch your own tokens on Ethereum instead of building a blockchain infrastructure from scratch.
So the infrastructure is actually there, so you just tap into it.
You just tap into it.
Okay.
You just tap into it. You build smart contracts. So what are smart contracts? They are automatic executed commands upon the fulfillment of obligations. So for example, I want to buy her car, right? But I do not trust that if I pay her, she's going to release the car to me. Okay? So we write a smart contract. So what the smart contract does is this. She releases the car to the smart contract. The smart contract recognizes that once I make payment for the car, right, ownership of the car automatically transfers to me without being revoked by her. And my payment automatically transfers to her without being revoked by me. All right? So the issue of trust has been eliminated.
Okay, so what's in it for the person in the middle?
There's nobody in the middle. It's a contract, it's a software.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So what's in it for the software?
Okay, so
for the
now,
person who has the software.
Okay, so this is how it
Yes, what's in it for him?
This is how it is. On the Ethereum network, you can deploy smart contracts.
Yes.
Now, to run the Ethereum network is ETH, the token.
Okay.
So it is a utility
purchase the token.
Yes. So you use the token to do every transaction. So the token gives you access to products and services on the Ethereum network.
Okay, so that's where the person, the Ethereum actually, that's what it gets for being the middleman.
Yes.
So to speak.
All right. All right. So now you would agree with me that, you know, if you're not really vested in anything blockchain or cryptocurrency, then you would not even understand, you know, how to go about it.
Yeah.
Now, this question is that I have is, now you talked about, you know, 14,000 people performing one, you know, transaction in 1 second. And you talked about, you know, Ethereum also being a currency and also a blockchain.
Yeah.
So is blockchain also a cryptocurrency?
No.
And what's the difference? How do they differ, blockchain and cryptocurrency?
Okay, blockchain is like a bakery. Cryptocurrency is like meat pie or bread or donut or chin-chin.
That's the product.
Yes.
Oh, okay, now I understand. All right, so, but, you know, are there different types of blockchain? And, you know, when you come to Nigeria now and you talk about cryptocurrency, we already know, you know, the CBN stands on, you know, cryptocurrency.
Which is changing already.
It is changing. But, you know, what are the benefits of cryptocurrency or even the blockchain, especially in business in Nigeria?
Okay. Okay, so we talk about cryptocurrency, right? Let us start. The benefits of cryptocurrency. One, you can make fast transactions, right? You can make cross-border payments, low transaction fees, right? Because if you want to send money to Kenya now, it is difficult from Nigeria. It's even a bit easier for you to send money from Nigeria to the US, and yet it will not arrive now. And of course, all of the time you will go to the bank, paperwork, stand on queue, ask you why are you sending the money, if it doesn't make sense to them, because in quotes, if you are using it for importation or maybe paying school fees abroad and all of that, what if I just want to buy a piece of shoe that I like from a store in the US? You know, why can't I buy it? You know, why do I have to, you know, have some form of restriction, you know, so cryptocurrency does that for you, right? So you could make cross-border payments, and they are fast. Like I told you, you could process hundreds of thousands of transactions. So I can actually send somebody money in the US, and in a split second, the person has confirmed it on the blockchain that they received my payments. And then the low transaction fees. You know, there was a record where somebody sent, I think, about $600 million on the blockchain, and the charge was just $3.
So you mean these transactions are unrestricted?
Yes.
Nobody checks them?
No.
They're not regulated.
So that's the thing. It is unregulated. So that means you can transfer money
Illegally.
anywhere in the world for whatever reason, without any fear whatsoever. No matter what the proceeds of that money is, or what that money is going to be used for. It could be used for terrorism. It could use to buy arms to invade a small country. It could be done on that particular without anybody knowing anything about it.
Contrary to that, no.
Okay.
Right? Okay, so I hold 2 certifications in cryptocurrency. One is I'm a certified cryptocurrency compliance specialist. And of course, you know what compliance is all about.
Okay.
And I am also a certified cryptocurrency investigator, because there are bad actors. All right? And so no industry is sacrosanct. And again, I am the executive secretary of the Blockchain Association in Nigeria. And that is because we understand the importance of this industry. We know the risks and the harms. Now, when you get on the blockchain, you are issued a digital identity, right? But you cannot do any transaction without passing through entities that we call exchanges. And before you get on an exchange, you must be registered and performs full KYC. And so we receive cases, you know, from the EFCC, from international international security operatives, and all they have to do is so transaction happened on so address, and it was sent to such and such destination. And we look at the address. How has this money been moving? Remember the transparency of the blockchain. Everything you do is transparent for everybody to see. So as it is moving, everybody is seeing it as it is moving. All right. So we could trace it to an identity. So you cannot fund terrorism, you cannot do drugs or illicit activities because of the freedom that cryptocurrency offers you. The reason for the invention of cryptocurrency is for ease of transaction, an alternative system of payment that is not susceptible to inflation and currency devaluation. That is the reason.
So who sets the value of this currency? I mean, like you said, it's not susceptible to inflation and other economic forces. But who sets the value? Did I just wake up one morning and say, okay, fine, I have 10 billion in cryptocurrency, and that's that. I write it down and I put it in the blockchain that I have 10 billion, and I have 10 billion. What? How?
Beautiful.
Who sets it?
The value of your cryptocurrency is only derived through utility and the law of demand and supply.
Which means the value actually changes.
Yes.
So I can have like 10, and by tomorrow it becomes 7.
It dips to,
Of course.
Okay.
And it can actually go to 25.
Of course.
And increase next tomorrow as
And
well.
increase. So utility.
So it's a speculative market.
Well, all markets are speculative. Even the stock market is worse.
Yeah, so it's actually, so it's just like the stock
The
market.
forex market
So
is also
it's,
speculative.
so it's just like the stock market.
Well, it is better than the stock market because
Yeah, but
it's
it's
a
the same-
solution, it's
but-
an innovation.
But it's the same principle that applies. I mean, like I buy stock, I keep it there, but the forces of demand and supply determine whether my stock rises or falls.
Of course.
So it's basically the same principle that guides cryptocurrency.
That is the only thing that connects them.
Okay.
Because, for example, if you want to buy stock, first of all, you don't just go into the stock market and buy just any stock. You want to look at the company you want to buy their stock, you know, because you want to make profit from your stock, right? So you want to see, what is this company doing? Okay, can I use their stock? Will they go up? What's their product or their service? Is it in demand? These are the things that you are looking at. You make projections that, okay, because the economy of the country is shaped this way, right? These people are producing something that is so vital to the economy. That means they will be in demand. For example, it makes sense in December to go and buy the stock prices of any company that is producing rice, because you know that in December there is going to be a huge demand for rice. It makes sense. During the rainy season, it makes sense to go and buy the stock of any company that produces umbrellas, rain boots, raincoats, because those things will be in demand. All right? So that is the way it is with blockchain. What solution are they creating? All right? What solution? So if their solution, if they are really solving a problem, then you know that there is utility. And because there is utility, there is going to be constant demand. All right? So it's going to rise. But then what happens when it rises? People have made profits. They want to take profit. So how do they take profit? They start selling. When they are selling, what is happening? There is a supply in the market. At the point the supply is over, the buyers start pricing it lesser.
So it's just like the stock
Okay.
market.
You know?
Now let's talk about the future of cryptocurrency. Now, according to a report here, that's cryptocurrencies and blockchain. The worldwide spend on blockchain is forecasted to reach $104.9 billion in 2028. Now, right now, as it is, cryptocurrency is actually seen as a disruptive force, for the financial, sector. In the future, if it is embraced totally, do you see an end to, the financial sector of, economies, especially banks?
I do. It's not going to have an end. It's actually going to have, it's going to metamorphose. It's going to innovate. I would even tell you that figure is I
low
would say
compared
it's low
to,
because we're doing more than that. I'll give you an example. In February last year, the crypto market was $1 trillion market capitalization. In April of the same last year, 2021, it got to $2 trillion. 2 weeks later, it was at $2.4 trillion. Now, let me give you the analogy. The first Bitcoin block was mined on January 3rd, 2009. So it means that from January 3rd, 2009 to 2021, it's 12 years. It took the industry 12 years to hit $1 trillion market capitalization. But guess what? Less than 90 days later, it was at 2 trillion. That means what took it 12 years to achieve, it achieved it in less than 3 months. And 2 weeks later, it was at 2.4 trillion. That means it added extra $400 billion into the market in 2 weeks. And we could remember in 2020 when we were celebrating the whole market being worth $400 billion. So you can see that figure right there is just the market cap of one crypto. So somebody saying it's going to be the spend, that's just way too low. I don't think the person who made that analysis is into blockchain full time. But I could say it's a forecast, right? Yeah, but it's way much more than that. In 2020, we had an engagement with the federal government through NIDA. The Nigerian federal government wants to generate $6 billion through blockchain yearly, which is possible. And we had that engagement, late in 2020. And then just right after that, the SEC pronounce cryptocurrencies as digital assets. But then in February 2021, the CBN governor, the CBN rather, released a circular and said commercial banks should stop offering financial transactions to individuals and organizations dealing in cryptocurrency, which was like a contradiction. So is it that these agencies are not aligned or what? You know, because one agency is saying something else, you know, NIDA wants to generate $6 billion through blockchain. SEC is recognizing crypto as a digital currency, and then CBN is saying something else. And then the moment CBN says that, everybody went back on their word, and it was like a fiasco. You know, like, okay, where are we right now? You know, so in the future, one of the things we are largely missing out on, because we have not adopted blockchain and cryptocurrency officially, is economic development and wealth creation, which is massive, which is huge. We can solve, there are huge opportunities in blockchain. We can solve the problem of unemployment with blockchain. We can create wealth with blockchain. We can achieve economic development with blockchain, financial inclusion. That is why at the Blockchain Association, we are pushing for regulation of the blockchain industry and cryptocurrency, because in the end, the Nigerian society and the Nigerian economy will be the biggest beneficiaries.
Okay, now
of it.
you've actually talked about, you know, benefits of, you know, blockchain and cryptocurrency. But, you know, anything that actually has a benefit actually has drawbacks as well.
Of
You know,
course.
what are, you know, the disadvantages of blockchain or cryptocurrency? Aside the legal activity that he was actually talking about.
I think that the only disadvantage of the blockchain is, one, the fact that because it is not regulated, right, we are not being able to capture the value. But then, if you make a mistake on the blockchain, it is permanent. It cannot be corrected.
What do you mean mistake?
Okay, so if I want to send you a crypto, I want to send you some money, right? And I miss a letter in your address. Okay. Most blockchains will not actually tell you that what you're entering is wrong. All right. It will go through, but then it will never get delivered, and it is lost on the blockchain and cannot be retrieved. You know why? Because it was not programmed for anybody to be able to mediate. Nobody should have access to what is happening. All right. Everybody can see it, but you cannot control it. And so because of that lack of control, if you make a mistake,
It's gone.
It's gone.
All right. Well, it's been an eye-opener. I've actually heard the terms before, these terms being bandied about. Yes, you've read some things, but you know it's quite different from by reading and then somebody actually explaining it to you.
Yeah.
One thing I think we need to do when it comes to cryptocurrency and all these new things that are actually coming up is to generate the required awareness, because a lot of people really, they've heard of these things, but they don't know how it works.
Yeah.
So I think that is something that you and your organization could actually look into and do better, so the Nigerians can actually have it and we can get the value of what we're looking for.
Yeah, we are doing a lot on that. For example, apart from being the secretary of the Blockchain Association, right, I own the largest crypto and blockchain community in Nigeria and Africa, you know, with the largest network, Crypto Bootcamp. And what we do at Crypto Bootcamp is blockchain and crypto education. And in the past 2 years, we have been able to educate over 5,000 people, you know, on what blockchain and cryptocurrency is all about, but more on what the opportunities in it is.
Yeah.
Because it's an emerging industry. Do you know that the blockchain is the only innovation on the internet that created an industry? The internet didn't create an industry. Only blockchain created an industry from scratch. And that's why it's a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal, and we really need to know what it's all about. And what we hope we had the time, but unfortunately we don't. We look forward to bringing you back. so that we can actually get into it, because there are lots of things to actually
Yes,
talk
there are
about.
lots.
Yes, we really need to analyze how to trade in these things, how to mine, just like you said. all these things. We talk about NFTs and the rest of them.
Exactly.
NFTs,
Yes,
DeFi, metaverse. And
Exactly.
all of
So there are
that.
lots of things to actually explore, and,
Yeah.
and I hope subsequently we can actually do that. Thank you very much for
Thank
coming
you
on the
for
show
having
this
me.
morning. All right. So it's absolutely an eye-opener when it comes to blockchain, Bitcoin, and the rest of them. And we hope that subsequently we can actually continue this discussion again. It is still Daybreak Extra on Trust TV. We'll take a short break, and when we return...